Welcome to the WRW podcast, where we dig up our gays, unerase our bisexuals, protagonize our lesbians, and validate our asexuals, and then force them all to have opinions. My name is Sammi.
I'm Abhi.
I'm Anan.
And I'm Sam. And I'm Sam.
And today we are talking about queer representation and gay people.
Yeah, we are talking about gay people.
And queer representation. Yay! But before we get into that, we have a special question from me.
Yay!
From me, Sammi. Yes. So the special question today is particularly special. Any movie or book or show or anything you have consumed that you do not want to make an episode out of but do want to scream about, you have 2.5 minutes. Go. Who's first?
You want to? Okay, wait, I have one.
Okay, Sam, you have 2.5 minutes.
So, okay, I'm going to out myself as a fan of this one person. No, usually I am not like this. I am not a really huge stan of any single person or any K-pop group or any person or anything. Yeah, but for the past 1 month, I've only been watching one guy. And that's my brother Yuan, whose also real name is Chen Zheyuan, who is a Chinese actor. I watched 3 of his dramas, which
And Chinese dramas are long.
yeah, they're like 24 into 60 into 3.
Let me do that math. 24.
You're taking my time away. So yeah, that's like a lot of hours I watched them. And yeah, that's what I've been watching him. He's so pretty and he's so cute. Okay, anyways. Okay. Yeah, so I recommend so he has 3 dramas. 3 of them are romance, but they're 3 different kinds of romance. Okay, so
It's almost like every show needs to be a different show.
but in all of these, he is like a loser. He's a loser in love. So in the first one, he's like a mature adult loser in love, and then in another one, he's like a high school teenager, cringe loser in love, and in the third one, he's like this. He comes out of a fan fiction. He's like a villain.
Fantasy loser.
Yes. Okay.
There are 3 genders.
Okay.
Adult loser.
Yes. So he's
50
all that.
seconds.
Yeah, and yeah. That's all.
That's all?
Yeah.
Wow! You concede your time to the...
Yeah, I'm very dedicated to my brother.
Who's next?
Yes.
Okay. I was going to talk about this one show, but then I realized I'm going to be bringing that up in this episode. So, this is really hard, but I think it would be this one show. I've only watched 1 season. It's called Dirk Gently's Holistic Detective Agency, and I watched 1 season, but it has so much like metafiction and stuff. I would love.
Alone, I would like to watch that show.
It is really fun. I think you'd like it. And it's just really fun, okay? Because there's like death and violence, but then it's also really silly. And there's also some weird mutants, aliens. I don't even know. Time travel.
Just everything.
Like switching souls. And 2 different people who, like, there are some of these scenes where these 2 people have this one dialogue exchange and an alternative 2 people have the same dialogue exchange. And then it's just really great. I need to watch the other seasons, but it's been cancelled.
Makes me want to watch Sense8.
You're my...
Okay.
Yeah. But I want to watch this, but I don't want to talk about it on WRW because I feel like if I talk about it on WRW, I won't watch it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Abhi?
You're welcome.
I wasn't thanking you.
No, you're welcome anyways. Good Omens.
Don't you want to do an episode about it?
I think I have too much trauma from that presentation. Now I can't do it.
We'll do it on the 2nd season.
Okay, okay, fine. Good I did not want to do a show, but I think I can give in. Even though I'm reluctant. But maybe then it would be Marry My Dead Body because I don't...
No, I'm doing it. I'm doing it.
Bruh. You can't... How...
In this episode too?
I will do a
talk a
separate
little bit
about it.
Even I want to do that.
I love Mad
Another
Dead
one.
Body.
Think really hard.
You can. It can be something that you're talking about in this episode, like something you don't want a
Ah,
dedicated episode.
The Wilds, actually. The Wilds. It's an Amazon Prime, like, can I say? Oh, whatever. I feel like a K-pop idol. Can I say the name of this company? No, anyways. A show called The Wilds, okay, and it's on Amazon Prime.
But
and it has...
in support of the writer's strike.
Yes. Okay, whatever.
You said whatever.
I'm saying
About the
whatever.
writer's strike? Girl, your 1.5 minutes is already over. Stop.
Yeah, stop it.
Because you
Stop it.
guys have been just...
Stop the recording.
Next on to Sami.
She has still 1 minute left. I mean, now 30 seconds.
Lol.
The longer you stay silent, the more time you lose.
Give it to Sami. You're over. You're done.
You're done. It's Jover.
Rover.
I'll give you an extra minute and a half. Go.
Over.
Okay. Anyways, so this show called The Wilds, and it has like 2 seasons, but they cancelled it because they hate gay people.
No.
So it's basically like these like 7 or 8 girls, okay, they are like from rich families, or they're just like, yeah, they got like this offer or whatever, like their parents got this offer to get them to like go to a vacation or something. So they're on a vacation, they're on a flight, and their flight crashes, okay, and then they like are deserted on an island together, and these people don't know each other at all, and there's like a very orthodox Christian girl in there, and there's also this like really jock, like basketball player girl, okay, and then they're obviously, you can guess it, they're gay.
Yay.
And they slay actually. But it's a really good show, and it has a lot of like dark themes, so I don't think it would be really suitable for everyone, but it's really good, and it has a lot of angst in it, so I was really sad watching it. But then they gave me the 2nd season, and I was like, it's okay, I guess. But then they cancelled it. So
Why do all the
now
good
I'm
shows get
sad.
cancelled?
But it's really good. I think I would not do an episode about it because I'm too sad.
No, mine.
Sami's
mine.
turn.
Yay! Mine was about red, white, and royal blue, which I am going to speak about in this episode. Also an Amazon Prime original. Don't give Amazon any money because they exploit their writers. But yeah, Red, White, and Royal Blue was a great film and also a terrible film. Like, it was very great in a terrible way. It was a chick flick and it was amazing.
Gays deserve bad movies.
Gays deserve bad movies. I respect gay rights and gay wrongs.
Yeah. Really.
And also, I think it was very, like, specifically foul of, what was the writer's name?
Casey McQuiston.
Casey McQuiston. I think it was very foul for me to have to relate to not a colonizer but the colonizer. Because I was like looking at all of the like YouTubers' reactions and they were like, oh boo-hoo, you like Prince of England, your job is not even a real job. And meanwhile me sitting here sobbing and saying he has to choose between his familial identity and what it means to be queer. And it's like me crying over the colonizer as an Indian girl. No, that's so foul. That's so foul of all of them. But yeah, it was just me crying and defending Prince Henry for his dumb position and his stupid family, colonizer family. Fictional colonizer, but in real life also colonizer.
He did live in the Windsor Castle.
Yeah, his ancestors canonically colonized my ancestors. So that was terrible, but also great film. I watched it like twice.
They
And
cut a lot of the script, like the original
Didn't
book.
they delete his sister?
Yeah,
out?
they
I was
yeah.
reading it yesterday and I was like, oh.
And also like Nora in the book, she's like this bisexual, but in like I don't care about my like sexual or romantic exploits kind of way, which like really resonated with me.
I think
Yeah.
in the movie they've incorporated a lot of fan fiction elements because I've read a lot of fan fiction on this book, and in the fan fiction like Nora and Pez kind of have, in like fan fictions generally Nora and Pez kind of have like a thing, but I don't think they have anything in the book.
They have nothing at all.
Yeah, and June is completely cut out, so I didn't like those things, but otherwise it was good.
I also really liked the something senator, something they were in the book.
Ralph
Yeah.
Luna.
Luna, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Senator Luna. I really liked him, and then he was gone in the film, and I was like, I mean, I watched the film first and then read the book.
Rafael Luna.
Rafael Luna, yeah, but still, it was a great film. Well done. I support gay wrongs. Yeah. So the idea for this episode started about a week ago, where I was scrolling through Twitter and then I saw this photo of these two amazing actors who I love, K-drama actors, An Hyo-sop and Rowoon, and they were holding hands and looking tenderly and lovingly and homosexually into each other's eyes. And I was like, what is this beautiful drama? I must watch it. And it is apparently this drama called A Time Called You. I have not started watching this show. But I looked into it, and apparently it was this, obviously big spoilers, but even I have not watched this show, so I suppose that the spoilers are not so relevant. But apparently this scene was from one of Rowoon's cameos in the show, where there's this small plot line where they're like classmates or something, and Rowoon is coming from really far away to attend this class together with his friend, and they keep trying to tell each other something, but they're not really able to, and then they're driving in a car, and then An Hyo-sop reaches across to something in the glove compartment, and then Rowoon reaches across, and then An Hyo-sop holds his hand, and then they look at each other tenderly, and then I scream and cry and fall in love, and then boom. Car crash, boom, and they both die. Is supposedly what happens, and this is a cameo that happens in episode 8. Now, I was really excited because these are like actors that I love, and a mainstream representation. But the moment I kind of clicked onto that tweet and then I scrolled down, I saw this entire wall of people saying like, "Sigh, this is just bury your gaze. This is not another bury your gaze. And can we please stop with the bury your gaze?" So kind of my idea for this episode was to explore the different ways that we criticize or kind of understand queer representation as being meaningful or as being harmful. So my first question is, what is bury your gaze? And what examples of it may you have experienced in your viewing of queer media? And why do you think it might be a trope at all that people are identifying across queer representations? Sam?
Yeah, so when you first brought like my attention into like the bury your gaze thing, I hadn't like paid, like I never noticed it much. Like I knew that it was a thing. Like I've seen like people mention it in some English series and stuff, but then I like was backtracking and thinking of where I've seen it, and then after going through like the bookmarks in my mind, I was like, bury your gaze is like it can be there in like two ways. Like the death of a queer character, right? It's like on one hand sometimes it's like part of the narrative, or the other times it's just one form of homophobia, right? And I was like going to see, okay, this media, is the death related to the narrative, or is it?
Do you have examples?
Yeah, okay, so for examples, so there's this book, so last episode was on Yellow Face by R.F. Kuang, right? So I'm going to bring this another book by R.F. Kuang called Babel, which is like a fantasy. It's like magical realism, historical fantasy set in Oxford. It has like a lot of linguistics. Like linguistics is the world building there. Like it is the magic.
For anyone, I mean, none of you can see this, but Anna is pointing very accusatorily at me.
Like I'm giving you recognition.
For linguistics, for the word linguistics. मैंने नहीं बना दिया इस word को.
You are.
I am linguistics.
Okay.
Thank you.
So in like a book like this, which is like a lot of fantasy, there's like a lot of plot, there's a lot of social commentary, there's a lot of nuance, and we have these 4 characters, and we have these 2 characters, 2 boys who like there's like a lot of implication of this ambiguous friendship, ambiguous attraction that is implied. It's never explicitly mentioned. It's all in the hints. It's all in the reading between the lines, right? But then, spoiler, I'm not saying who, so...
Okay.
Someone dies.
Oh yeah, one of them dies.
Someone dies.
Yeah, someone dies in that. Like, in the pair, one of them dies. So... like, you would think that, oh, it's bury the gays, oh, they killed the queer character. But actually, it's not at all. Like, the person, they died for a really very... It's
like a motivator.
Yeah, no, it's
narratively significant.
Yeah, someone killed them, right? So, yeah, it's very narratively. It's so significant to the plot. It's so significant to the, soul of the book.
Gay people are allowed to die.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like that kind of a thing. And so it is not really bury the gays. It was so important. It's like such a moment in the book, right? Yeah. So that's one example of how it's not very important to the narrative. And another book I want to bring is this really popular book called Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. If you see any bookstore, even in India, you'll find that book. Literally, it's everywhere. So the title of the book, right? Seven Husbands of Evelyn. It sounds very straight, but it's not a straight book. But
some of the husbands are women.
No, there are husbands.
Queer.
Oh, nice.
One husband.
Yeah, one husband is queer. Yeah. So the thing with this book, I will give.
Is it like Saath Khoon Maaf?
No.
Where she kills them?
No.
No.
No?
It just sounds like that. But
So the main character, she's a really big actress and stuff. And there's a lot of gossip, drama, that celebrity cast stuff and all that. And she has seven husbands in different situations. But then she is bi. She's yeah. And then she has a lover. Yeah. But the thing in this book is that, so there are 3 queer characters. Not 3, 4 queer characters.
They
all of them die. In the end.
Okay, but does everyone die? Even the straight characters also die?
I mean, some of them just die of a natural death.
Yeah.
The queer characters do. I thought that it was plot relevant because some of them just died of old age and diseases.
But then, for me, what it was that, so even the main character, right? But then all of them die after their sexuality is brought into light.
I get that because
so we find out that they're queer and then they die. It's sudden.
Actually, it's literally like that because it's these people found a life with each other and they have a kid and they're living really happily. Boom, death.
Yeah, it's like that. So that kind of goes into the actual bury your gay territory.
And
I digged into it. I looked it up again because I read this book 3 years ago, and this author is in the interview she actually says that she's a straight white woman who's writing about a queer biracial character. So that made me even more suspicious. Oh, literally bury your gay thingy.
I have some thoughts about this. I mean, certainly burying your gays can be homophobic, but the way I see it is a lot of the times it's not I'm going to make a gay character and then kill them because I hate them. I think it's more you didn't care about having a gay representation to begin with, and so it doesn't matter to you whether or not this person dies. So it kind of doesn't matter to you whether or not this person dies, and so it's I guess they can die. I need to kill someone for the motivation of this plot, and so why not them? Whatever, I don't care. Because there's this implicit relation that if you're gay then you're less important or less powerful.
Yeah, so it's this, she's marketing this book as this beautiful love story and stuff, but it's so tragic. It's everyone, all the queer characters are
I think, in my opinion, maybe it's also because I haven't seen a lot of bad bury your gays. Every single instance of bury your gays I've seen has been plot relevant. So I this is my opinion of when I read it. I feel in Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, even though the suddenness of that death really hits you. Okay, so the suddenness of the death really hits you and you're not expecting it. But I think that's the thing with Evelyn Hugo for me, that in a lot of media you'll be expecting the death to come. And I think historically queer representation in films has always been in this way that like this is a villainous character, this is an immoral character, and the only way, like if we represent them in every time that they're represented as a character, I'm not saying like it's exactly like this in the present tense, but every time a queer character is represented, you have to show that their immorality in that queerness kind of led to their downfall, and boom, they're dead. I think tragedy is something that is very linked to queer narratives. Has always been very linked to queer narratives. And a lot of the really great shows that I watched, okay, this is the show that I really want to talk about, even though now I'm not really going to go into it because I don't want to give the major spoiler. But the two queer characters in Killing Eve, they, like from the start, you might have that hope of, oh, these people are going to be happy together. They're all going to like move to some rural village somewhere and then live far away from all of the horrible things that are happening. And nobody dies. But somewhere you know that this story can't continue without, like, with something bad happening. That there is this conflict that is always in the story, that you can't have an ending without it. Maybe the thing in Hannibal is also something really similar. I haven't watched that entirely, even though every single time I tell myself I'm going to watch it, but then I'm like, oh, I'll have a partner and I'll watch it with them, but I know it'll never happen, so I should just watch it on my own now. So, and in that sense, because I'm not a fan of sadness, I don't like being sad. Not a fan of being sad. Yes.
Not a fan of, existential pain.
Yeah.
And suffering. Yeah.
And I'm at heart a slice of life person. Yeah. So as a fan of slice of life specifically, I really appreciate the happy, dumb, cute queer media.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think you had a very interesting point there about, like, kind of the connection between queerness as villainy, or as kind of
negative.
Not necessarily something negative, but something antagonistic, right? That the queer person is always kind of queer-coded villains.
Yeah, exactly.
And so, this kind of reminded me of this one K-drama. Most of my references this episode are K-dramas. You're welcome. So it was this K-drama called Record of Youth. And I remember my friend recommended it to me because it stars Park Bo-gum, and who doesn't love Park Bo-gum? I love Park Bo-gum. And so she really loved him too, and she was like, oh my god, I love this show. There's actually, in the first episode, there's this like, so Park Bo-gum is this model, and there's this like designer who's like into him, and he's like kind of creeping onto him in a way, but Park Bo-gum is really respectful to this designer. And so kind of it's really interesting, like good gay representation is what my friend told me. And then I watch it and I'm like, I don't think this is very good representation at all. Because the thing that you said, where it's the thing that Sam was talking about, where it's like, does it serve the purpose of the plot? And from my watching of this, it does. Him being a villain, and eventually, spoiler alert, though it's not that big a spoiler, he does die. He commits suicide, and he writes this letter about like Park Bo-gum and like releasing, he did this and that and all of this to me, and so him being a villain and also him dying while being a gay character does serve a purpose, and that purpose is to make the main character look good. Because oh my god, the main character, he's so nice, he's not like discriminating against this person who's being really mean to him, and I'm like, that doesn't, I mean, it makes him look good in this very heteropatriarchal way, but to me it makes him look like a wet sock with no spine. Like, you should stand up for yourself. Like queer people can do can do bad things. Like
I feel like this underlying homophobia that's there in the body of gay thing, we notice only when we see the patterns. Like, it's like it's like it happens a lot.
Let me get to it. So it's like, first of all, queer people can do bad things, and us, like, leave whether or not this is good representation, bad representation. It would make sense for the main character to stand up for himself when he's being harassed. On the other hand, kind of, if the only representation of queerness that you have is one in which they're a villain with no self-respect and then proceeds to, like, kill themselves, it's like, what perception of queer people do you have as a person writing that story to begin with?
Always tragic. Like
most
of the
person.
Yeah, like all the queer media that most of on mainstream, like, queer media representation that I've seen, it's like almost all of them have always ended up being like tragic stories, or them being like really horrible people and being like, you know, just ostracized from
where their
the
death
story
is
and
basically justified as this person deserved it because they were bad,
or it's just like a plot device to, like, you know, to support the plot narrative, but sometimes it's just unnecessary, you know,
to paint the straight character in a better way.
And it's really harmful because there's this thing of, like, all these mainstream media, and a lot of people consume it, right? So it becomes this public consciousness kind of thing. So many people just perceive them, like, they just generalize it in that way, and that's the only representation they see, right?
Yeah, I have another example, which is, it's not really bury your gays, because most of the time there isn't actually a concrete gay there to be buried. But in a lot of K-dramas, especially, like, I feel like up until 2019-ish range, you would always have in the first few episodes some, like, rich, probably CEO man who has never been in a relationship with anyone, and so everyone thinks he's gay, right? And then later on in the plot, What's Wrong with Secretary Kim, Strong Woman Do Bong Soon.
Strong Woman, oh my god. I know this is not relevant, but I was so excited watching that because I started shipping him and that police officer guy, and then I was like, oh wait, is this it? So I stopped watching.
Yeah, and so that's a very common trope in K-drama, where, like, for the first few episodes, one character, everyone perceives them to be gay, right? But there's this one show that I think was very interesting to me. It was Her Private Life, right? Because in that show, I mean, this is a very, very baseline subversion, but it's not the man that's assumed to be gay. It's the female lead, because she has this very close friendship with the girl. And in Korean, a lot of the vocabulary around fangirl, especially, like, being exposed as a fangirl, is the same vocabulary as for queerness. Like, coming out means one, like, coming out, but it also means come out to your coworkers as being a fangirl of some group.
In Her Private Life, she's a fan.
Yeah, she's a fangirl. It's about, like, fandom and stuff. So there's this scene where her brother is, like, threatening to out her as a fangirl, but her boss, who's from the United States, he's like, he's going to out her as a lesbian, and he beats up her brother. And I felt so protected. Ryan Gold, he, like, set the standard for me. And once again, kind of the perception of queerness serves to make Ryan Gold look better in your eyes, right? And later on in that show, there's this subplot, okay, where so they're art collectors or something, curators for a museum, and they want to get this collection of photos from a deceased photographer, and they go to meet his close friend who's a painter, right? And he doesn't want to give these photos to anyone, and then slowly over the course of an episode, they reveal that, you know, they were in love with each other, but they never, like, spoke about it, the painter and the photographer, and they never accepted it. And
the painter is...
and there's this really, I don't want to, like, go into all of the details of the plot because it's not relevant, but there's this tenderness with which they handle this queer relationship. Both the lead characters handle it, and once again, one of the gays is dead. This relationship is never going to be actualized in front of you for the viewer, and I'm at odds with this representation because it's so beautiful, and at the same time, once again, it serves the purpose of making the main characters look, who are straight, who are not queer look amazing in your eyes as the viewer, and not in the purpose of, and also maybe in the purpose of uplifting queer relationships.
For me, it didn't serve as, for them, it didn't seem as if they were, making them elevated or something. It just made
me cry.
Yeah. Like, it was just one subplot they just added for something. It was just like that for me. I didn't see it as an elevation of the the main straight couple.
Because usually that's what usually the subplots are to elevate or kind of intensify their intimacy or elevate their moral stance or something, so that makes you root for their relationship.
Yeah, that's what, when you look at it like closer and like introspection, you just start realizing all these things.
And so kind of that makes me feel at odds with the idea that bury your gaze is always bad, and with kind of some absolute notion of what is good or bad representation. So I often hear, whenever people online are praising queer representations, one of the most often reasons that I've gotten is that there's explicit mention of a certain label. Like, this character self-identified as bisexual. Like, they said the word bisexual, they said the word trans, they said the word asexual. And so my question, this one is a lot more simpler, but what do you think is important about, this explicit language around queerness? Or how is saying the word gay or queer important to you in representation? And how does this explicit reference help representation? Sam?
Yeah. Okay, so for me, it's not that important, like explicit mention, because I have enjoyed a lot of queer media. Like, I mean, not explicitly queer media, ambiguously queer media that, like, I interpret as queer. Yeah, it's like that. Okay, so for example, I'll, like, give 2 examples, I guess. Okay, so the first one where it's not mentioned, so is this anime called Romantic Killer. I have recommended
I really wanted to watch it.
Yeah.
I have watched one episode.
So the scenario, the setting is, so this girl who has 3 things that she loves, and like it's like just cats, video games, and chocolate. Yeah.
Well done.
And,
me too.
And then she is put in this reverse harem situation where like 3 boys are like just thrust into her world, and like there's this one wizard who
a Cupid kind of person.
Yeah, it's actually an organization or something to increase dating in Japan or something.
Nice.
Yeah. So she is basically thrust into this romantic situations with like these guys. Like, it's like the usual romantic tropes, So one is the cold, mysterious person, and then the second one is her childhood sporty jock friend, and the third one is this rich guy, short guy. So it's like all these tropes into one.
And if someone tried to force me to fall in love with my childhood best friend, I would actually cry. I would sob.
So the thing is, this presents as, your usual reverse harem romance thingy. But the thing is, towards the end, even till the end, all they have is just romance coded, and there's no actual romance happening. And till the end, they all just become friends and almost like just live together in one house. So the thing,
I should watch
and watch it.
I should watch.
So the thing with this is that she, Anzu, main character, she doesn't experience romantic attractions or feelings at all, like literally at all in the whole thing.
But without saying the word aromantic.
Yeah, without saying the word aromantic. And it's just so nice. Like, I enjoyed it. And like in contrast to a show which actually said the word aromantic and asexual is like Koisei no Futari, where like it's like a story about these 2 people who cohabit together and like they become this like unconventional family, which is another episode I wanted to watch.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So there, like,
We should do a Koizan of Futhari and I Want to Be a Wall episode.
Yeah, that's what.
Like merge those two and make one.
Yeah, I mean, I want to merge all that and also not others. Basically, it's like found family, but in a way that it's
Queer
also not found family. Like,
I think that's too specific. I think we should have a found family episode and we should have an Aero Ace special.
Okay.
Another Aero.
Yeah.
That was just a Loveless episode,
Okay.
not an Aero
I
Ace
want to be in that.
Yeah, so basically what I'm trying to say is that, so these are like two pieces of media where you have a main character who's like aromantic, asexual, but it's like in one it's like explicitly mentioned and it's like developed. They find,
and they're both good representations.
yeah, they're both, I enjoyed both of them. Yeah.
Also, Nozaki-kun.
Oh, yes. So there's this another manga anime called Gekken Shoujo.
Nozaki-kun.
Yes, Gekken Shoujo Nozaki-kun. Wherein that also, it's like, it's a shoujo-ish setting where this girl likes this guy who turns out to be a manga artist who writes romance manga. And again, there's so many romantic coded situations. It's like basically parodying romance and there's no romance at all. It's so beautiful. I love media where it's romance code, like, you know, coded, but there's nothing.
It's just like the vibe. That's love culture for me.
Yeah, it's just, it's like like in both of these, right? In the end, what you see is a friendship polycule. Okay,
God,
it's like a friendship polycule, and it's amazing. And yeah, even in Gekken Shoujo, it doesn't like mention anything, you know. Oh, Tomodachi, the Tomoda guy.
Oh my god, that was my favorite.
Okay.
I think we should just do an episode on this.
Yeah.
Okay.
We will add Gekken Shoujo Nozaki-kun to the Aero Ace episode later, and we will talk about our fictional friend Tomoda. Yeah. Anyways, yeah. Anna?
The question was, may I just remind
Yes,
you the question?
please.
Does explicit reference in representation help?
Okay, so most of the ships, I'm specifically talking about, you know, queer couples who are, you know, like gay or bisexual or pansexual or anything. The moment we started like going into talking more about different media in this episode, I remembered this one book that I read. I don't know what it's called. I only remember that there was some character who might have been called Leo. I don't remember that either. But it was some story that was set in like so it's like this main character, and then she and her friends go to Oxford or something, and then there's some painting that someone painted, and their children and their grandchildren, something like that. Okay, I don't remember. But it's this friend group that has this one like very cool playboy flirty guy who's, you know, like he's friends with the main character who's a girl. And then there are these two guys that are into the main character, and there's this one extra guy who's like, you know, nerd friend. And I remember reading that, and I actually, when I say I remember reading that, no, I don't remember reading that. But I just perceived that nerd friend and that popular friend to have something going on. I think it was implied that either the nerd guy liked the popular flirt guy or the popular flirt guy liked the nerd guy, but one of them liked the girl. I think it was the nerd guy who liked the girl, but the popular flirt guy who liked the nerd. And I read that.
Even if it wasn't written, if I was reading that story, I would project it on exactly that.
Okay, maybe I did that then. I actually don't know. But the thing is that nothing was really mentioned, and I just made it up. Maybe that's just me as a reader, that I just like to read into things and I get more invested in things that aren't established. For example, there's this series called Heaven Official's Blessing by MXTX. Abhi woke up now. Good morning, Abhi. Joke, she was awake, I'm just saying. So it's a queer novel, okay? And it has the main couple, Hualian. I'm not going to talk about them. And they're together. It's really great. They have a proper like plot progression, love story, romance, yippee. But there is a side pair and Beef Leaf. No, Fengching, yeah, but like that's in my head only. So there's no basis also. It's just mera delusion hai.
Head canon.
Yeah, literal head cannon. Boom.
Head mein cannon.
But there's this couple called Beef Leaf. Like that's the ship name.
Sounds like a Pokemon.
Right? And the ship name exists because okay, so there are two characters. There's the I'm not going to go into the the plot, but there's these ghost kings, and one of the ghost kings is this person called Heishan, and he's like the water wala ghost king. And he has really bad beef with Shi Qingxuan, who is the wind master, who takes on a very androgynous form, who's gender fluid basically. And the thing is that he pretends to be someone else in heaven. No, he does not pretend to be a leaf.
Where does the leaf come in?
Okay, fine, because you are curious about Beef Leaf. Someone made an artwork and they put a beef emoji for Heishan because he really likes to eat a lot, and a leaf emoji for Shi Qingxuan because the wind. Yeah, so Beef Leaf because food, hunger, wind.
If your ship name is being created through a random fan art reference, then that kind of shows how undermined in the plot it was.
It was so... But the thing with this is that it's not implied, except for the fact that Heishan hates Shi Qingxuan, and Shi Qingxuan didn't know about it for all this while, and Heishan was posing as his friend, even though he wasn't actually posing as his friend. He was just posing as, I exist in this place, and Heishan was like, we're best friends now. And then something it's really tragic. People die, very sad. Everyone ends up sad basically, and a lot of people in the fandom are really invested in the ship. Maybe I'm not as invested in this, which is why I want to talk about another MXTX ship, which is also bury your gays in the most burying your gay manner, except that we don't know if they're gay or not. Which is the most bury your gay for me.
You imagine that they're gay, you hope you have their dreams, and they're already dead.
They're already dead. Even in the story, when you find out that happened, you know they're already dead. And
they're dead forever, or will they come back to life or something?
They will not come back to... Oh my god, yeah. One of them is a zombie because he died and he was revived. One of them is the guy who killed him. And the third guy is the one who was best friends with zombie guy.
Nice.
Okay.
Who died.
I have lost the plot at this point. Okay.
We should just do an MXTX episode now.
We can do that.
Yeah.
But the thing with this City trio is it's really sad. But I'm so invested in that I'm not invested in...
It doesn't matter to you.
It doesn't matter to me whether they're the main ship and explicitly established as queer as Wangshan, because I'm not even a quarter as invested in Wangshan as I would be in City trio, where it's just maybe these people are gay because you can see how Shao Xingchen gave Shui Yang candy because he knew that he broke his pinky finger because he wanted candy and his life was really sad. But you can also establish that Songlan and Shao Xingchen broke apart because Shao Xingchen was blamed for Songlan's clan's death.
Okay. Yeah.
And there's this inherent queerness, but everyone is dead. But it doesn't matter because the emotion still stays the same. At least that's what it is for me. Some me?
I think you had some very interesting points there, and also maybe I should watch that show and read it before I come back and listen to this episode. Maybe I'll understand it better. Yeah, and I think I agree with you broadly about the thing of whether or not they say the word, say the label, doesn't really matter to me, right? Because I'm extremely skilled and talented and trained in projecting, because otherwise I will never get any representation for myself. But I think the question then becomes for me is, even if the explicit words don't matter to me, does it maybe matter to someone else? And I don't mean someone else as in another queer person. I specifically mean the straight cis allies around me, and the way that having this explicit representation affects the way that they view me as a real person. And I have a very specific example that I may have told you in private, but now I guess I am opening this out to the real world. So I was kind of in school the go-to token queer person. Someone doesn't know what bisexual or pansexual or I don't know non-binary means, go ask Sammi. She knows all of these. Because I was out, but kind of no one was out about anything at that point. Like now looking back, like so many of my classmates were like fruit basket was my classroom, okay? But but at that point I was the only person who was out, and so across multiple classrooms, across multiple grades, it was like, oh, someone has a question about what it means to be queer, like go ask Sammi. And someone says the word gay in reference to some show, everyone looks at Sammi. Oh my God. And the thing is, I'm generally a very like academic person, and most of my queer stuff was like research. Like I have citations, I have all of these websites. These are some reference links that you could do. Like I entered that situation with the mindset of, oh, I'm helping people figure themselves out. This is like counseling. This is like education, psychoeducation. And I didn't really question it or feel very bad about it. But then I think it was Sex Education season 4. Which season? No, not season 2. 3? Which season was it? One of the seasons. And there's this episode where there is and it's a very side bala plot, okay? It's not even relevant, but they're putting on a play, and the play is about sex, and one of the main characters, she doesn't experience sexual attraction, and then the one of the main characters, who is a sex therapist, right? That's the title, sex therapist. She's like, sex doesn't make you whole. How could you be broken? How could you be broken? And then she says there's some people who are asexual, who don't experience sexual attraction, and then there's others who also don't experience romantic attraction, but you might be asexual but have romantic attraction. And she speaks about it in this very explicit way, even though the character is not a recurring character. And I wasn't watching Sex Education at this point, but I was on like Tumblr, and I saw like gifs of this. And the next day, they were having some random conversation, and then someone said the word gay, and then this girl looked over at me, and then this one guy, I don't want to drop his name, but I love him so much, I miss him so much, you know who you are, please, I have told you this multiple times, so he is the kind of person who will chumma say the annoying thing because it annoys you, and be very politically incorrect, because I was a very idealist and I would always like get annoyed at him, and he was a sadist, and so the girl, she said gay something, and then she looked over at me, and then he's like, she's not gay, she's asexual. And I went home and I sobbed for like 3 hours, because I didn't know that I could be seen in that sort of a way. I didn't even realize that sort of awareness was a possibility, and it kind of opened me up to, you know, I live in this explicit vocabulary, I live in these labels, like there's something I have to carry with me around everywhere I go in order to assert my identity. So if I'm allowed a fictional or, you know, narrative space where I don't have to wield that, it's very comforting to me. But for another person that isn't so familiar with these labels, I think it's really important to break out that mold and break out that framework and provide, I don't know, a means of exploring. Because once you have that word, you can look it up, you can find more research about it online, you can explore about different ways that identity can present. And so, I mean, I agree, I really don't care, I'm good at projecting, but it just, there's different functions of queer representation.
I think for me also, I'm at a point where I started out being like, yeah, I know exactly what sexuality I am, and now I'm just like, wait,
what even is a sexuality?
Yeah, like, do I even feel this? What is this? And through my friends specifically, when I realized that you can be aro, because I already identified with being ace, but through my friends is when I realized that, oh wait, being aro is a thing, and I got exposed to a lot of like media with aro ace characters, and I think that's kind of where the possibility of being queer and being aro ace came in, because I feel like a lot of queer representation that I've seen is focused very exclusively on romance. So it's like, are you are not giving enough queer representation. And no, actually, yeah, the idea of queer representation sometimes I think just boils down to, oh, this person is gay so they have a boyfriend, or this person's a lesbian so she has a girlfriend. And if you don't give them that, it's like, how are they queer then if they don't have a partner to prove it? Yeah. And in that context, you bring in ideas of asexuality and just being aspec, and maybe there's no like other person that you have who is like this proof of your sexuality, and
maybe you don't even have a label to be a proof of your sexuality.
And that's all that I think in that sense representation becomes really important in different ways. Sam?
Even though I said that for me, like, explicit thing is not important, but then I realized that I got introduced to, like, these words and this itself is because of explicit representation, right? Yeah. Like, it's because Alice Oseman wrote a book called Loveless, which is like episode 3, I think, I don't remember. But yes, please go listen to it. So it's because, like, Alice Oseman used the word romanticism and asexuality in her book that even I got introduced to it, and a lot of people got introduced to it. So yeah, it starts with it starts with explicit representation for a lot of the time.
And then it'll really help you feel like even if you don't identify with that word specifically in the end, just knowing that a word is out there and you can somehow know that there are other people who identify with that word, and maybe you feel a bit of connection to that word, that's really important.
One of the most, it's my opinion that it's one of the most relevant queer productions in as of late, the Heartstopper TV show.
Most popular.
Very popular. We had never even spoken about Alice Oseman or Heartstopper, but Abhi just showed up in college one day and she was like, Sammi, did you watch Heartstopper? Like, we didn't even, because we just knew that everyone who is queer knows about this show and was looking forward to watching the show. And I knew about the show and I was looking forward to watching the show. And so it was just kind of this whole thing. One of the big criticisms against Heartstopper, and I think a lot of Alice Oseman's writing, one of the main criticisms against Heartstopper is that there's little to no sexuality involved in this show. No explicit sexuality. And it's a very light-hearted show, very light-hearted queer representation. Lots of people hold this criticism against a lot of Alice Oseman's writing, which I think is irrelevant because she's asexual. Why do you expect her to write about sex? But
I think they're high schoolers in Heartstopper.
Yeah.
But
I especially appreciate the way that Alice Oseman, the way that they just talk about relationships beyond sexuality. I think in Heartstopper as well. I've gone away from my question and I started talking about my answer.
I feel like this Heartstopper brings in this another lens where a lot of people think that, queerness or like gayness is like a lot sex related, right? Yeah. But this one is like not. So it's like...
And the thing is that in my experience of queer, let me just have this. My experience of queerness in general, just, it's in line with Heartstopper that I have not like engaged in anything. I've never been intimate. But I have had a group of queer friends, and that's the most queer experience that I can imagine for me. So I think it's pretty...
Yeah, and a lot of Heartstopper like just feels, at least to me, like it was written by an aro ace author, because like there's a scene where Nick and Tao, they like write their names on a heart locket. Sorry, Charlie and Tao. My brain is not braining. But Charlie and Tao, if it was Nick and Tao, I would freak out about it. But Charlie and Tao, they write their names on a locket and then they hang it on the bridge because it's supposed to be like people who love each other do it, and they're like best friends, and they both have their relationships, but it's like there's this elevation of friendships. This is not what the question was about.
Yeah, okay.
So the question was about what does queer representation gain from being light-hearted, or and also talking about sexuality, from veering away from mature themes, and what does it gain from being more serious and more willing to dive into them. And kind of, I'll just start off by answering because half of my answer is done. So I think certainly Heartstopper does deal with a few mature themes, right? They do have elements of eating disorder and self-harm that are represented as well.
Also, Ben's whole character is literally the opposite of
Ben's
Peter's.
whole character,
Internalized homophobia.
He internalized homophobia, bullying, abusive relationships, all of that. I think it kind of connects to what I was saying about red, white, and royal blue in the special question, where, you're allowed to have, you're never going to have a queer representation that's all encompassing, and you're never going to have any representation that's all encompassing. And pieces like Red, White, and Royal Blue or Heartstopper, it's lighthearted and uplifting when in reality, or even in narratives, a lot of queer representation or stories are very sad and serious, and it kind of is this balancing act of, there is sadness and, trauma that we need to speak about. There is joy and light-hearted encounters that we also need to speak about. Even if in this political day and age, in the social day and age, the pain is more. And so I think I'm kind of, and every queer person, every person that's seeking queer media is at a different stage in this. But myself personally, I am a little tired of kind of very mature, very sad and downtrodden representations. I'm tired of only envisioning futures and outcomes and realities where I am sad or a villain or dead. And I think part of this artistic process is just creating new possibilities, and I'm excited in the ways that new stories, something like Heartstopper or Red, White, and Royal Blue, nonsensical though they are, it creates that possibility.
It's like out of a fan fiction.
Yeah, it creates, and fan fiction also does this for me. It creates this hope.
It's just an escape from
And I think we need an escape, honestly. I need an escape.
Yeah, like you can't always be sad because your life already might be, very serious and stuff. So you might need something that's more happy and joyful, like Heartstopper.
And I think if you kind of give more attention and more, you involve yourself more in this escapism, then you start to explore probable, improbable, or also probable alternatives. It gives you hope in this very concrete way. Even if it is fantasy, it gives you hope, and that hope can manifest in reality. So I think serious representation is important, but I think moreover you need to have all kinds of representation, and everything serves a different purpose, and some of them serve very terrible purposes of uplifting cis-het characters that don't really need to be uplifted. But anyone else? Sam?
Yeah. So I'm not talking exactly related to the question, but it's also kind of related to the question. So again, I'm bringing in two examples. Yeah, but this example is Indian context of gay representations. Yes. So 2 movies. So the first one is the light-hearted. I'll go with the light-hearted one. Is, you guys know the movie Dostana?
Oh my god!
Dostana.
But was that really?
That's what. But it's still representation in the sense that they.
It started
By the way, Dostana was the first time that I heard
Yeah.
or understood the word gay.
Exactly, that's what. See, it's not a proper or accurate like a representation of gayness, but it is where like the first mainstream movie like to say that like they like having two men who
Are really popular.
pretend who really popular actors who pretend to be
So
you know
basically in the film they pretend to be gay so that they can move in with this girl who they're both into, because they're both actually very straight and kind of stalkerish.
so it's like a representation. It's still a representation, but in a light-hearted way, but not in an accurate way. It's a comedy way. So that's like one side of it. The other side is like a Malayalam movie called Monster. So that also is like very mainstream. It has like the superstar Mohanlal and all that. Like, it is Mohanlal. So in the movie, like one of the like a lot of things happen. Something happens. So in the end, the villain, right? The villain.
She was this lesbian ghost.
So this woman, she kills off her husband and her daughter because she wants to like be with this another woman.
Bang.
Okay. So like those at the end, those two are the villains. So like that's one again. That's like one representation of like a lesbian sapphic relationship, and since again it's a mainstream movie, these two movies are the ways in which people like perceive these relationships, and
Like one, either the gay is like some straight person who's pretending to so that they can do bad things to a woman, or two is this like fantasy creature who is also going to do bad things.
So basically in that they are the villains. Like the sapphic character is a villain. So that's like a serious representation. No, it's like not a light-hearted way. So
And like the thing is, gays are allowed to be evil. We support gay wrongs.
but it's the only evil is the only way they are shown to be.
Wei-hao though.
No, I'm saying in Malayalam.
In
Malayalam movie.
It's lagging in all sorts of ways all across India. But Badhai though was really good. Do you guys watch Majama?
Abhi
I
has.
watched it. Madhuri Dixit
Madhuri
plays a
Dixit.
sapphic character in that, but she has like a husband and stuff. But she had this lover when she was like young. And I love that. And honestly, at the end, I was like, oh my god, I'm gonna kill myself because that's so.
It was so good.
I watched it last scene.
May I just speak about it? It's not related to the question. But I'll just tell you about the first like 10 minutes. I've probably already told you guys. But so Madhuri Dixit is the mother, and she has her daughter. Her daughter is a gender studies like PhD candidate, and she's at some queer rally. She's an activist. She's at some rally, and then she, in the first 10 minutes, she says LGBTQIA+. And I was like slay the first time, and then the next two times in the next 2 minutes, I just wanted to slap her.
What?
In the span of 3 minutes, someone says LGBTQIA+ to every single person around them.
Okay.
I just got a little annoyed because this opening thing was that she's this like cis het woman and she's married, and then they're like, what does she know? And then this like trans appearing person is like, she's a gender studies like PhD holder, and so she knows, she has researched this better than any of us. And then she goes and she like screams at her family like, oh, you're being so like this and that. And then she goes and starts screaming at her mom, and then she's like let me so she's like see, the thing is, you guys say that you're progressive, but you're not actually progressive. Like, what if I was a lesbian? Would you accept me? Would you like accept me? Would you like say that that's fine, that you still love me? And then Madhuri Dixit gets like really angry. She's like, so what if I say I'm a lesbian? Would you accept that? And then I was like, girl.
Madhuri Dixit,
Please. No, I sat down. I had to sit there and cry for like a long time. It was beautiful. There's some really interesting queer representations in within the
Also,
Indian
Lita with the
film
Straw,
industry.
which I have watched only half of, but I'm going to watch it.
I really want to watch it.
शुभ मंगल ज़्यादा सावधान.
And एक लड़की को देखा तो ऐसा लगा. And there's also this movie called Blue Cobalt where I didn't watch it, but
Red or Fire?
Fire. It's like 1996 or something. It's really old. And also her songs.
My song Falguni.
Yeah,
but that's.
I mean, it's still.
That's very implicit.
Yeah, very, very, very underlying. What do you mean?
Subtextual.
Is there if you the subtext of the subs.
Either the gays are substratum of the earth or they are subtextual of the explicit story.
Yeah,
Sub something.
it's very sub.
That should be our title.
Or Subtract.
Subterranean.
That's the title.
Okay, yeah.
Okay.
Honestly, I kind of want to talk about sex education and this idea of gay people can be bad representation too. Like, you don't need to have the point of a queer character doesn't always have to be a role model, right?
Yeah.
Like, they can do wrong things, they can do messy things, they can do bad things. And having this conversation right now made me think of sex education, because when I saw the angle of romance between Adam and
Adam and what is his name?
Otis.
not Otis.
Not Otis. What's Otis's friend's name?
I remember his name, but I had it in my head, but I
remember
forgot
it
it.
was-
Otis and
I just know them as the bald guy and that really buff guy.
What was his character's name? Eric?
yeah, Eric.
Yes.
So the romance angle that comes in between Eric and Adam, I was watching that and I was like, how the hell did they put this out? This is so wrong. Why would anyone date their bully, and why would they be in love with them and all of that? And now that I have this conversation with you guys, it just makes me realize that gay people can be really messy and they can do like really bad things. They can just make mistakes.
It reminds me of Heartbreak High.
Yeah, I want to talk about that also. Heartbreak High, please watch it. Someone.
Please watch it.
Please. It's that like queer people can make really bad mistakes. They
Bad
can be in the
decisions.
wrong. They can make bad decisions. They can just do things where you're like, why would you even think of doing that?
Stupid.
Because maybe there's some like omnipresent God watching my life and they're like, why did you do that? Like, that's so dumb. Why would you do something like that? To me,
Like, not every queer character is fully 100% motivated by
Yeah.
their queerness. Like, sometimes they're motivated by like terrible stuff as
also
well.
like being dumb. That's a good
That reminds me of this show called The Class or something, which is like an Indian remake of the show called Elite. In Class, there's this like two guys who get into a relationship eventually, and one of them is like a queer Muslim guy who had to like get dropped out because his parents found out that he was had some stuff going on with the guy before this like present relationship guy comes in with him. Okay, but he's like a drug dealer and he's a really the Muslim guy, he's like a drug dealer, so he's a very
Harami.
I mean, I guess like he is immoral in that sense, but otherwise he's not like a bully or anything like the other people in the show. But yeah, and then the guy that he's in a relationship gets into a relationship with is like a really rich kid in this really like elite prestigious school in Delhi.
Is it nice?
Huh? I found it really nice because like I didn't think they would ever make like a remake of Elite, because Elite is quite explicit and they have stopped at one season right now, but I don't know if they will release a second season because it's kind of like a cliffhanger. But I want to see where the story goes, because even the rich guy, like the rich kid from the family of this like PT teacher and this like principal, he gets into a relationship with that Muslim guy, and then there's like a lot of conflict, and he like tells his parents about it and stuff. But whatever. The point is that the Muslim guy is kind of immoral and he's messy and
he's complex.
So queer people,
it's that like you can have queer representation that you don't like, and that's like not good, as in the character isn't someone who's really likable, but
That's
it's
really
still
good representation,
because
yeah.
you just I think we're at a point where we just need representation, and also representation that's not written by like cishet people. I mean, of course, that also is representation in the end, but I just think we need representation as a whole, just like the way general, the way that straight people have so much representation.
I think a word to put in there would be diversity of representation, right? Yes. And I think the tricky thing with diversity is you can't make diversity.
You can't force it.
You can't force it. I mean, looking for a diverse representation, some of the gays are going to die. Some of them are going to be antagonized. But we're looking for what I think the problem with Bury Your Gays is that you're noticing this pattern that at least like 5 out of 8 queer characters that you know are dead.
Thinking of an alternative ending for your queer characters, it's just that let's just kill them off instead of giving them
like a plot.
Like they can die, but it depends, like as Sam said in the beginning.
You're not thinking of an alternative, and sometimes an alternative might feel like wish fulfillment and might feel like fantasy farce never going to happen, but I mean, that's the kind of diversity that we need.
And even if it just ends up being like, oh my god, cheesy high school romance, I'm there for it. I will eat that up. I'm here for cheesy high school romance, and also like queer friend group finding comfort in all of their diverse identities and being confused about it.
Even a subplot is fine. You know, like the side couple. Usually when you see there's like a main straight couple, but there's also a second couple who's also straight.
Nevertheless. I watched Nevertheless for the queer people.
Yeah.
Is that the end? That's the end. Yeah. So more queer people.
More queer people, please.
WRW Podcast is a podcast where 6 friends discuss books, movies, and media that interest them. This episode featured Sami, Sam, Anna, and Abhi. Scripting was by Sami and audio editing by Devi. Don't forget to follow us at wrw.podcast on Instagram and wrw_podcast on Twitter. You can also write to us at womenarewomen22@gmail.com. We also have a blog which is linked in the show notes along with everything mentioned in this episode. Thanks for listening. Bye.
Bye.
Who's going to do that?
May I?
You are doing